Welcome to Living Your Path. I am Cecile Ferry, a coach and astrologer. I'm here to guide you on how to live and work in alignment with your true self so you can find fulfillment and serenity. Hello, my beautiful people, and welcome to the podcast this week. You may hear my voice might be a little funny today. I don't know what's going on with me, but this week I've woken up feeling a little run down. So I applied to myself what I preach. I've been taking it very slowly and very easy. Maybe it's Mars retrograde that's been affecting me. I haven't spoken about it here, but it's the planet of action and it's going kind of slowly between now and the end of February. So if you have noticed a change in your energy levels this week, like me, that's what's going on. So anyway, I have been operating more slowly and I feel good. I feel like I have enough in the tank to get through the podcast, and I want to keep up with my weekly pace for you. So today's topic was really inspired from something I saw last week. I was sitting on a presentation about the general trends of 2024 in Australia. It was very interesting, but there was one stat that really stopped me and made me reflect. And I thought, to be honest, like, wow. And that stat said that it was about people who feel like life seemed to be getting out of control over the years. And back in the days, like 20 years ago, the amount of people feeling that way was 36% in Australia. And today, it's 61%. So like 2/3 of people feel like life has gone out of control. And that's probably you as well, listening to it. So I was like, well, okay, there's really something in that. And I want to talk about it. I want to dig around that. I know like COVID has certainly accelerated that. And since 2020, basically the last 5 years, we certainly have all felt that life was more difficult and harder to predict and harder to control. I think we all agree on that. So I want to bring you here my perspective and some concrete tools to help you if you feel too that life is getting out of control, if you're part of those 60-odd%. In particular, I'm recording this, we like getting to mid-December, so close to the lead up to Christmas. So we all have so much to handle and juggle. So I think this episode will be timely. Talk about getting out of control, right? So when I thought about my life and myself, I reflected back as well, like where am I in this statistic? And I have definitely felt that my life was getting out of control in my mid-30s when I was juggling a young child, a very demanding corporate job. I had issues in my relationship, health issues that were coming from burnout, and then also financial stress. So I was a lot in survival mode with high stress levels daily and with anxious thought about the next day. If that's where you are, whether you're nearing burnout or you have a lot of stress, you're managing a lot of things, I get you. It's a very challenging place to be. And I would bet that most of us will or have found ourselves in that place as well. I think it's very hard not to these days. It's a bit like a spiral that goes downward. And when you're down there, like you really need a way out. And I just want to say for a minute as well, here I'm not talking about mental health issues, just to set the scene, because that is a different topic for which I'm not qualified enough to provide any meaningful advice. So I'm not talking here about the mental state that impacts your daily functioning. If that's you, then I would absolutely recommend you find a professional that you connect with and that you trust. Here I'm talking about feeling worried, not feeling in control of life, and having a general sense of uncertainty and not trusting that you can make decisions, invest in your life, and really having that sort of good quality of life and happiness. You still are okay day by day, but you are not feeling like life is kind of working in your favor. So sort of that pessimistic sense about life, especially if we consider the recent events and state of the world. So yes, life has gone harder. I firmly believe that. I've seen it, I've experienced it as well. We all have. And many of us have gone through some kind of personal transformations of some sort over the last 5 years. And when I say personal, it could be anything in your life, including your career. But we haven't reached this state where things are rosy again, have we? So how do we keep going when things seem to keep being that way, keep getting out of our control, where life keeps getting somewhat complicated, hard to navigate, and with sort of new problems or worries that probably the generation before didn't have? So that's what I want to cover today. I will give you my best advice and my guidance to find a way to attain peace amidst the chaos, to find stability when things feel like they are shaking or changing around you, and to feel more in control of your life. So ultimately, like I say, as part of living your path, you find fulfillment and serenity. Are you ready? Let's get into it. So the first thing that I want to say is that we need to make peace with things that are getting out of our control. First things first. And lately, it's been a lot of things, and maybe more to come. I think there is power in acknowledging things for what they are and not pretending that they are fine. So we can all start with accepting what is. I think we all really need to start here and to live and preach that. Yes, it's challenging to live in 2024. We have a lot more resources, a lot more choice, more financial power, more product services than ever before. This is all great. Yet, collectively, we are more stressed, more sick, more stretched, and working more jobs, more hours, dealing with a lot of challenges, to name a few, from climate change to cost of living to political situations that are worrying, to wars, to cybersecurity, to gender imbalance issues, and I could go on, right? So I think step one is to acknowledge all those forces at play and how we are naturally being affected. It's normal that we are stressed. It's normal that we feel like life is getting out of control because it's true. Like the outside world is getting out of control. And so we're having a very normal human reaction because we all have a fight and flight system. And if we are feeling stressed or like life is out of control, it's working as it should, that system. It's releasing adrenaline. The problem is when there is too much of that or when it becomes long-lasting because we don't have tools to recalibrate and balance out our nervous system. And many people have their nervous system out of balance. You just need to get on the road to see it. Like, I'm just amazed sometimes to see it, or just going into a store during peak period and just watch how some people react in there, right? So this is just all about nervous systems around that have been under so much pressure and strain and stress for the last couple of years that people don't know how to get back to balance. So my point here is, yes, acknowledge the external circumstances are challenging and see them as just that, external circumstances. So try to put a line, like an invisible wall, a distance between you and those circumstances, because that line exists and all your power resides in being aware of that line. It's like, yeah, there's all those stuff going on here and there is a line here. Yes, there are hard things going on in life and there is you. It's not like you are being dissolved into all the hard things going on. Do you see what I mean? It is possible to separate the two, and I encourage you to do so. So that's the first point. Think about, yes, we're not going to be pretending everything is great. Say, yeah, things are getting out of control out there. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you are getting out of control with it. when it comes to you, now that you're aware of that line that you can draw, now you can get back to resources you have to feel more in control. So I'm going to give you 4 strategies or tools or, aspects, perspective you can use when you feel your life is getting out of control. The first tool is finding inner peace and calm. And this is paramount. And I believe the best answer to life feeling out of control. If you do anything out of this podcast, pick that one. Why? Because it works the best. And I think it's so paramount, like crucial, vital. I think these days you can't go through life without cultivating that. And also because I have developed this in my life, and it is a tool that helps me greatly. So much so that I use it and I need it daily. And when I don't or when I can't, I quickly start feeling like I'm really not going well and that things are feeling more out of control. So it's greatly stabilizing. And it's frankly your antidote. It's like the oxygen mask you put on yourself. Then life can happen and you will stand up no matter what is going on around you. So how do you find that peace and calm? And here I will say, find what works for you, what suits you. I'm not going to say you should meditate for an hour or you should do, all those things. It's very personal. So for me, I will share here. I have found what works the best for me is meditating 15 minutes in the morning every day. And I have found exactly what works when I do my meditation. It's just a playlist on Spotify called Peaceful Meditation. So they're just tunes that I really resonate with. So I put that in my ears when I get up in the morning, and the tones really resonate with me and induce that sense of calm almost instantly. So I sort of just simmer in those vibrations for about 15 minutes before getting out of bed. Because like you, I have a busy life. I can't just afford to have a morning routine of 45 minutes. I want to sleep and I need to get going and to get everything ready. So, but I do get those 15 minutes. And really that does it for me. I have felt more calm, more aligned, and feeling a lot more centered and robust within myself thanks to this practice. And it really helps you when you see lots of things that could worry you, that could get your nervous system going. When every day you have like a practice that's anchoring you into some peace and calm, you are fine. So find what it is for you. Maybe it's taking a quiet walk. Maybe it's having a cup of coffee in a silent home first thing in the morning before people are up. Maybe it's closing your eyes on the train, listening to soft music, or sitting in a park, looking at the sunset. Like, I don't care what it is, but it's those moments, 15 minutes is enough, where you can sort of shut the world out and find some inner peace and calm, like a bubble of space. And we really need this more and more. And I think if you don't have that, you really would benefit from adding this to your life. Because otherwise, that percentage of people, that's why we've gone from 36 to 60%. It's because we haven't all adopted that. We haven't been taught because we didn't need that before. Our nervous system were not like they are today. And now we absolutely need those things. And they should be part of our daily routines, really. Like your daily shot of caffeine. So have your shot of peace. It doesn't have to be long. What matters is that it is regular, so your nervous system has a consistent window of getting back in neutral. It's a bit like if you're driving your car, at times you have to run around, you have to zip up and down in traffic, turning left and right. But at times you need to get back to neutral, even if it's just every now and then. And that is enough. Trust me, start with that and feel the benefits pretty quickly as long as you are consistent. You've got that home base. So if you only have the home base every 3 or 4 days, it's not going to be enough. You got to really build the habit and do it even if it's just 10 minutes every day. It's okay then if you miss one morning, one day or whenever, one evening, but you will kind of need it pretty close to daily. So very important to think about what would resonate with you and what can you start in your day today. So, okay, number 2 is to do the work for life to feel under control. So I'm going to be a little tough love here. I'm going to have a bit of a real talk with you, sort of wearing the coach hat here with a very strong focus on action, right? So it's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, to find the reasons why it's hard, why we're frustrated, why we're tired. But nothing is going to change unless you take some new action. You can do a lot of things to feel more in control, many of which you might not even see right now. So very concretely, how do we do this? First thing first, make a list of all the problems that you have in your life right now. I know, not sexy, not fun, but you've got to do it. All of them, go for it. It's very cathartic to do. All the things that annoy you, that bug you, all the way to those that actually really create pain for you. Dump them all on a piece of paper. Next, I want you to go one by one and identify those you absolutely have no control about. And I'm not saying those that feel like difficult or you don't know how to tackle them. Like those that are full stop, completely removed from you. You have zero influence or control over. And everyone we would ask about would agree with that. So highlight those and put those in a bucket that you will call let go. You make that list of those things that are problems for you. And going forward, every time your mind brings them up, you tell your mind that you can't do anything about it. It's from the let go bucket and it lives in the let go bucket. So leave it there and refuse to engage with the worry or with the idea. Let it go. And the more you do this, the less it will pop up into your mind. Trust me. It's like you reclassify it. You remind it each time, oh, you are in the letting go bucket. Thank you very much. And over time, it won't come back up to your awareness. Trust me. So you just got to train yourself a few times that way because you build a new neural pathways when you do that. So that's the first thing. Then next up, you've got your list. I want you. So that's the list of all the things you can control. And I want you to identify the top 3 most pressing issues for you. Those that will make the biggest difference when they're solved. And then we get to work. You work on a plan to solve them. You ask yourself questions on how can I resolve this? What do I need here? What are all the options for me? So I can't talk more and get into details here because otherwise we'll be here for hours. But what matters is that you are clear on the problem to solve and you ask yourself how you could solve it. And not stop until you start having answers. So you demand answers of yourself. And trust me, when you ask yourself the hard questions, you will start finding some solutions. So start generating all the ways you could solve it. Don't edit or discard any options. Just be in brainstorming mode and then start sorting through all of those and make decisions. Take some steps, some actions and see the result. Because when you take action on your own life, that's when life starts to feel less out of control. So see, we have to manage our nervous system so we get back to some kind of calm and then we can layer on some new action. Because if you don't feel safe, peaceful, balanced enough, you're not going to feel like you can take the action. That's why that's tool number 2. But it just works really well in conjunction with tool number 1. So here you really have to work at it. Work at the things in your life because the rewards are going to be amazing and are totally worth it. So you really need to get to that step. And if that feels too hard, too vague, or difficult for you to motivate yourself, get a coach. That's what they're there for. That's what I'm here for. I can help you, whether your problems are career-related or life-related. And if you feel like your life has fell out of control in 2024, don't let that continue in 2025. We all need to front up with what's causing us stress and find solutions. Because we all can, you can, and you deserve it. And it's part of the lessons of life waiting for us. And by us not tackling them, we are only delaying the issue and feeling more out of control in the meantime. So that was tool number 2. I know, tough love. But trust me, that's how the diet really moves on that one. Tool number 3 is to build up your self-integrity and your self-love. Again, I could do a full episode on that, but I'm just going to touch briefly on it so you get the gist. So self-integrity, self-love are wonderful antidotes to life feeling out of control because those build a very strong foundation within yourself. So the control comes inward first. And that, in my opinion, is another non-negotiable in life. Treat yourself as the most important person in your life. And literally, where do you start? Well, look after yourself. Show yourself some interest, some compassion, some kindness, some support, and some love. That is mega important. Most of us haven't been taught how to do that. And I personally totally sucked in that department for a very long time. But trust me, everything improves when you do it. So I could get into it and I have made tremendous progress. So if I could, you can as well. You just have to experiment and just start where you are with being more in touch with yourself and caring more for yourself. Imagine all the attention and love and efforts you put every week towards your kids, your partner, people in your community, people at work, your best friends. Feel all those feelings you have for those people and turn the same vibration towards yourself. What if you did that? And so a way to build that muscle and that inner attention is to make a little decision for yourself and stick to it. It's a bit like a new appointment you make with yourself. Just decide on one thing you're going to be doing for yourself and do it. Deliver on it and show up for yourself. For instance, it could be a new boundary you will set up to improve your energy, like your sleep, for instance, or a new little habit, a different way of treating yourself, a different choice you're going to be making about what you wear or something you're going to be buying for yourself. Just like look around and start with one thing you will do for yourself for your highest good and practice it. Stick at it until it becomes a habit. Then pick another and just build on it. And it can be anything. I'm going to give you some examples here. Catching yourself being self-critical and telling yourself, no, I've done my best here. Or when you're feeling really challenged by something, just remind yourself, I can do this. I've got this. Or not having the cake or the drink when you know you will regret it later. Or having the cake or the drink and refusing to beat yourself up afterwards. Making that medical appointment to remove the underlying worry you've been having for some time and not telling anyone. Putting on some nice clothes, I find that works really well. Or nice jewelry, or nice makeup, nice lipstick, right? Or leaving a party early to go to bed and rest. These are just examples. Like, start just treating yourself like you're treating everybody else. Because the more you look after yourself, the better and the more in control you will feel. And no one else can do this but you. I'm now getting to tool number 4 to feel more in control or less than like life is out of control for you is to leverage astrology. So I have been doing this over the last 3 years in my life and I have seen the impact on my sense of control in life. And trust me, I'm a recovering control freak, so I know something about needing control. But I'm not saying here use astrology as a way to predict the future and therefore gain a sense of control and security and peace because you know what's going to happen. That's not what astrology is about. Anything that sounds like that is not astrology. It's just, as I talked about in the last episode, something to get you to read, to click. It's not astrology. And honestly, when you hear those things, you should really beware. All astrology really does, the real astrology, is to help you understand the forces at play. It helps you understand the energetic influences. What comes of that and how that plays out in your life is far from set in stone. You have a vast degree of control over that, like I said under tool number 2. It's your actions coupled with the undercurrents that will lead you one way or another in life. But astrology can be your guide when you feel out of control in order to feel back in control. Because when you can understand why you feel the way you feel, it helps a lot. Because there are some more challenging times in life, and they usually correspond with some transits of the planet, especially in particular for you in relation to your birth chart. And there are other times where the transits are really positive and we feel more in control. So wouldn't you want to know? Wouldn't you want to understand how those forces are playing in the background? Because then I find it so much easier to accept what is, like I said in my first point, and go with that and accept and show up for it. But then it's coming from a place of personal empowerment and not like, I know what's going to happen. So 2 ways to leverage astrology. The first one is to know your birth chart and to get back to it each time you feel lost or unsure. So if you haven't got it, get your birth chart read so that you have that foundational knowledge about who you are, what your strengths are, what your gifts are, and what your challenges are in life. I did a full episode on that. It's number 102. I'm going to link it in the show notes. If you haven't listened to it, do yourself a favor and listen in, because you will understand why is birth chart that important and what is it that you're useful. And by the way, I will mention, if you're listening to this in time, I have a special on birth chart reading until the end of December 2024. So if you are prior to the end of the year and you're thinking about it, go online on my website. The link is also in the podcast show note, and book it for yourself. Get it done whenever you want in 2025. But it would be a shame to miss out on the discount that there is now. 1st of Jan, my price is going up. So I can't just stress how important it is, what a difference it will make in your life going forward. Like, it's going to help you for the rest of the life you've got ahead of you. You only need to do it once. Okay, now the second way you can leverage astrology is watching the current transits. And the transits are the movements of the planet each week, each month. I'm not saying become obsessed and learn everything and anything, but learn at your own pace. Follow along either here or on my Instagram at Living Your Path, or just follow other astrologers who share what is going on. The beauty is that everyone is talking about the same transits, because that you can't change. There's only one way the planets are moving. We're all reading the same map, if you like, but astrologers tend to interpret things not always exactly the same way. I would say 60 to 70% of the time, we all have an interpretation that's going the same way. There's usually a strong consensus or commonality. But then there are some that just go further and it's their own interpretation. And you can try and you can see if you resonate with it. So with me, I share what's going on in the Astro Minute in my weekly newsletter or on Instagram. So if you do want to know more about the transit, I highly recommend you follow me there or you sign up for the newsletter. Because when you understand the external influences, you are better prepared to deal with the little shakeups, with the unexpected events, the setbacks. I'm talking about all the stuff that feels out of control, whatever really happens in life, in good or bad. And you can relax a bit more knowing that. And I really do. I use that as a guide. I don't use that as defining how I'm going to feel and spend my week. But it's kind of knowledge I refer back to that's supporting me. And that's really helping me balance my nervous system and feel like, well, if things are going a certain way that feel out of control, I know why. And that gives me a bit of sense of control. So, and what I do quite often, I like to link things back after the transit has passed. I will reflect back and be like, oh, this, I actually manifested my life this way. So I don't like leave the transit ahead of time and think about them. I tend to just let it go. I go on about my life. But when I feel difficulties or resistance or things not working out, for instance, I go back to those transits and I'm like, this is why. So I think astrology really can give us an explanation for about 2/3 of what happens in life. That's how my experience is. And so when you better flow with it. It does bring your anxiety down, I would definitely say. It gives you that, okay, that's why I'm feeling like this way. And I'm constantly doing it for my close friends, for clients that I work with, because it's just so helpful. And really, I'm thinking with what's coming, 2025 and 2026 are going to be no different. And I'll finish up on that. There's actually more coming our way in terms of events and things that are likely to make us feel life seems more out of control. It's the evolution, the trajectory that we're on, because we are all evolving as a humanity. So it's not going to go back to peace and quiet next year. Sorry. There will be more coming our way. So the sooner you find ways to flow with what's happening in life in general, the better for you. It's actually a really good time to jump on the astrology train if you're new to it. Get your birth chart read, because there's really cool transits happening over the next few years, and knowing that is really good, a good sort of prop or a good backup to equip you to balance your feelings a lot more with, all that I described, what's going to be more out of control. Then we can't predict. I can't tell you what is really going to happen. But looking at the astrology, and I'll talk about the astrology of 2025 soon, when I have digested it all myself, I can give you some pointers. And that's really helpful. And I'm thinking with everything coming at us, maybe astrology will get a boost in audience around the world in the near future. Who knows? But I would say good chances. And when I say astrology, you could also consider other sciences or therapies, really anything that helps you be in touch with the undercurrents of life. So I'm not a specialist there, but it could be seeing a psychic, doing Reiki, looking into Feng Shui, kinesiology, rapid transformation therapy, and there's so many more. But all those fields, I predict, that's just me here, just quote me, is my own opinion. I think those fields will expand over the next few years. Like all the fields, the therapy or the knowledge that are related to energy are going to take off and really grow, and are going to become more mainstream. And that's going to help us feel more in control. I think it's been particularly hard in the last 5 years, but therefore we are all going to be seeking more answers. And if you're on this podcast, that's probably you too. You are looking for ways to feel more at peace, to feel more serene, and to feel more accomplished in your life. So there are more disciplines, and there might be new ones that are coming, which can support you in getting answers in a world that feels more and more unpredictable and chaotic. So that's what I had for you today. Those 4 tools to feel more in control after you actually acknowledge that there are things going on outside that are really out of control, but there is a line between you and them. And what you can do is to find inner peace and calm, tackle the work that needs to be done to change things that are not working in your life, to also give yourself more self-integrity and self-love, and leverage astrology where I can help you. So I hope you got lots out of today's episode. Thank you for being here. Stay calm, stay balanced, stay grounded over the next few weeks, and I'll be back with an episode next week. Take care, everyone. I'll speak with you soon. Bye.